It pretty much happens every day. You meet somebody new, you strike up a conversation, and now you have to do small talk. But what are actually the best ways to do small talk and not to seem too boring? Well, today I want to share 4 of the best tips with you to always have great small talk. What's up everybody, this is Alex. I'm glad you tuned in again, and let's get right into today's topic, small talk. Did you ever notice that most of the books with the topic of small talk or networking focus on the wrong thing? They focus on impression. How do I make a great impression? And this is exactly where tip number 1 comes into play. Don't focus on impression, focus on your expression. Your character, your personality is unique, and that is also the biggest strength you have, so why not use it? Don't think about how can I make the best impression, how can I make the coolest impression, how can the other person have the best impression of me and think good things about me. No. Ask yourself, how can I express my character in the best and most authentic way possible? Because nobody can do this. Nobody has your personality, nobody has your character, so use it. It's your secret weapon, it's your biggest strength. Focus on expression, not impression. Tip number 2. Most people always focus on the topic. What do I say? What do I talk about? What is the best topic to start a conversation with? But the topic doesn't actually matter at all. You know what's way more important? How you talk about it, the emotion you put behind it. If you talk about the topic with passion, or if you make it boring, if you make it entertaining, if you make it sleep-inducing maybe. Topic is always secondary. We focus way more on the emotion we feel when we are spending time with somebody or when we are in conversation with somebody. Just imagine you're going to university and today the professor will teach you your favorite topic. Once you are 30 minutes into the lecture, you are almost asleep. Why? Well, you love the topic, but the professor talks in such a boring and unemotional way about it that you start to get bored. Even though you love the topic, you fall asleep and just want to get the hell out of there. Now imagine the opposite. You go to university and you have a lecture that you really hate, maybe something math-like. But you have a new professor for the day, a professor that is really cool, a professor that makes the topic fun, explains it in an easy and cool and, well, fun, educating way. You notice yourself getting pulled in even if you thought it was a topic you didn't like. Suddenly you start paying attention and you're fully into it. That right there is exactly what happens in small talk. Don't focus on what you talk about because it's always secondary. Focus on how you talk about it. Put emotion behind it. Tip number 3, lower the bar. When we don't know what to talk about or get stuck in small talk, it's often because we have too high expectations of us and have too high expectations of what we want to talk about. We think about the perfect thing, the perfect timing, the perfect quote, the perfect joke, the perfect story, and by this we freeze. So lower the bar. As long as it's socially acceptable, not insulting somebody or rude, it's generally okay. Your goal should be to just start talking, because like this, at some point you will always start cracking some jokes, or you will remember a funny story that happened to you, or a great quote that you can throw into the conversation. This, however, won't happen if you just sit there and try to think about the perfect thing to say. It only happens if you start talking. By the way, that's another very important thing. A conversation is always an up and down, a flat line, or maybe a little down, a flat line, up and down, up and down. It's not this highlight, 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 highlight. It's more, well, a wave. Sometimes it's easier, sometimes it's you're laughing, sometimes it's more, just random conversation and suddenly a sad story, random conversation, a funny story. You can't have highlight after highlight, just start talking, the highlights will come anyway. However, if you want to make sure that there are always a lot of highlights and there are no awkward pauses, well, just build yourself a safety net. You do this by simply sitting down at home for maybe 20 to 30 minutes and writing down a couple of your favorite stories, a couple of your favorite adventures, and a couple of topics you always like to talk about. Like this, if you really have a situation where you have no idea what to do or what to talk about, you can always fall back onto your safety net of stories, adventures, and topics. You just pull it out and you start talking about it. This, of course, is not something you should rely on all the time, but it's always good to just have it in the back of your mind to know that you have a safety net just in case. And there you have it. Focus on expression, not impression. It is actually not that important what you talk about, but how you talk about it. Lower the bar so you don't have that high standards of what you are allowed to talk about. And last but not least, build yourself a safety net just so you can relax because you know, just in case something goes wrong, I know I can just talk about this and this and this and this. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button and post your questions and topic requests down in the comments. I read them all, I answer to all of them, and if you post a great question, I will make a video about it in the next couple days. But until then, tune in again for the next video tomorrow and, well, have a great day. Bye.